Lamar Jackson's journey from an unheralded three-star recruit to an NFL superstar who was born and raised in a low-income neighborhood of Pompano Beach, Florida, is the subject of this article. Throughout his life, Lamar Jackson has had to overcome more grief and suffering than most people can even begin to imagine. In addition to repeatedly proving countless haters wrong, football, which Lamar and his three siblings constantly played, was the only aspect of his boyhood that he found easy. Two things were obvious from the beginning. Siblings would frequently play football in the yard with their father. At the age of 7, Lamar was a daddy's boy and unique. In his first season of organized football, Jackson won MVP, a title he later won for each youth football team he played on, just when it seemed like Lamar's life was finally beginning to take off and he had found true happiness. Jackson's father passed away from a heart attack when he was only 8 years old. Then to somehow exacerbate a situation that was already incredibly depressing, when Lamar's grandmother died that same day, Lamar became dependent on his mother for everything. She put food on his plate and clothes on his back, and helped him grow up on the football field. Her faith in him helped him reach his current position. When others wanted to turn him into a wide receiver or defensive back at a young age due to his speed, she insisted that he stay at quarterback, reflecting on her influence on an Athlete's Tribune article. "The best coach I've ever had, according to Lamar, was my first mother. I'm not just saying that because she supported me and encouraged me to play football and other things. I mean that she truly made me work hard to improve as a high school student." Even though Jackson was receiving offers from Power 5 institutions and going viral on social media with impressive stat sheets and figures, it wasn't enough because he was nonetheless praised and disregarded. Jackson excelled as a dual-threat quarterback during his 2 years of varsity football at Boynton Beach High School. He was able to outrun defenses from the air and on the ground, throwing for 2,263 yards and 31 touchdowns for a quarterback rating of 102.7, and rushing for 1,624 yards and 22 touchdowns. Lamar's skills enabled him to become a social media star on a few occasions. One of the highlights of his scurrying around in the pocket, dodging several defenders, and running down the sideline are being shared online today. He stops abruptly and lets a defender fly past him as he strolls carelessly into the end zone. Despite his outstanding stats and millions of YouTube views, Lamar's ability to play with defenses makes plays like this seem like they were taken from a video game. Lamar is just a 247 Sports and ESPN rated. Despite being a 3-star recruit and ranked as the 80th best player in Florida by ESPN, recruiting analysts believed he relied too much on his athleticism and that this would catch up with him when he faced more formidable opponents. However, a few prestigious universities, including Louisville and Florida, saw past these rankings and offered him scholarships. After attending Auburn and Clemson, it appeared that Lamar would remain in his home state and enroll at the University of Florida. However, he finally decided to attend Louisville. According to reports, head coach Bobby Petrino assured Lamar's mother that her son wouldn't have to switch positions as soon as he got to Louisville, which was a major selling factor for the Cardinals. Coach Petrino almost immediately provided Jackson the chance to prove to those recruiters that Lamar was serious about taking his game to the next level. As a freshman, Lamar participated in 12 games, starting 8 of them, demonstrating his resolve to do so. It's unusual for a Power 5 school to have a 3-star quarterback prospect. Jackson took full advantage of it, proving that his exceptional athleticism was not overstated. He threw for 1,840 yards and 12 touchdowns and ran for 960 yards and 11 touchdowns. His 960 rushing yards set a school record for the most by a quarterback in a single season. Lamar was full of confidence going into his sophomore season, and it was clear from the first game that this would be a season to remember. The season opener against Jackson went on a wild rampage the rest of the season, finishing with 3,543 passing yards, 30 passing touchdowns, 1,571 rushing yards, and 21 rushing touchdowns. He also set a school record for the most touchdowns in a game against UNC Charlotte, scoring all 8 of them in the first half. With many SportsCenter top 10 appearances and these video game-like stats, that's more than 5,000 total yards and 50 touchdowns. Lamar. After such a season, Jackson received the Heisman Trophy, college football's most prestigious honor. With pressure mounting, he exceeded expectations for his junior season by breaking the 5,000-yard mark once more with 3,660 passing and 1,601 rushing yards, along with 27 passing and 18 rushing touchdowns. Lamar had such a fantastic year that he felt he had nothing more to prove after winning the Men's ACC Athlete of the Year award for all conference sports. College years. After having two of the most successful back-to-back seasons in college football history, Lamar went into his final year of eligibility and declared for the 2018 NFL Draft. However, he couldn't escape the narrative that had followed him since he was a young child. Despite throwing for over 7,000 yards in just 2 seasons, the experts continued to doubt his passing prowess, with some even going so far as to suggest he changed positions to become a wide receiver. NFL teams must have heard this noise when Jackson was selected in the first round of the draft. At the same time, cameras captured a distraught Lamar and his mother backstage in the green room. It was a powerful and appropriate image, as one of the few people who never gave up on him, something that many others did, was by his side. After an agonizingly long wait to hear his name called and witnessing 4 other quarterbacks be selected before him, the Jackson was selected by the Ravens with the 30th overall pick, the last choice of the first round, just like his mother and college coach. Even though Lamar was selected in the first round, Baltimore saw something in him that led them to believe in him, while others didn't appear to. In 2018, Lamar was still a rookie and needed to wait for the opportunity to establish his worth to the rest of the league. When Joe Flacco was injured in Baltimore's game against the Bengals in Week 11, Jackson received his first career start. Jackson never looked back, leading his team to 6 wins in 7 games to end the regular season and secure a postseason berth. Despite starting just 7 games, Lamar led the league in quarterback rushing yards with 695, even though his detractors were prepared to say he wasn't ready for the moment until he went and sobbed out. He led the Ravens to a victory over their division rival while throwing for 150 yards and rushing for 117, a franchise record for a quarterback in a single game. In a close 23-17 loss to the Chargers in a wildcard game, Jackson became the youngest quarterback in NFL history to start a postseason game and formally put the league on notice after displaying moments of brilliance as a rookie. 2019 was Lamar's year to prove his entire potential, and that his brief season was more than just a fluke. Additionally, the Ravens had a whole summer to create a new system especially for Jackson, who could not have a more distinct playing style. Joe Flacco's fashion Lamar was on a mission in Week 1, throwing for 324 yards and 5 touchdowns against the Dolphins, making him the youngest player ever to achieve a perfect passer rating. He followed up that historic performance in Week 2 against the Cardinals, becoming the first player in league history to rush for 120 yards and pass for more than 250 yards in a single game. This quick start to the season gave Jackson a ton of even without participating in Baltimore's last regular season game. Lamar led the Ravens to a 14-2 record and finished with over 3,000 passing yards and over 1,000 rushing yards, contributing to a total of 43 touchdowns. He was practically unstoppable for the remainder of the season. In addition to breaking the NFL record for the most rushing yards by a quarterback in a single season, during the Ravens' divisional round game against the Titans, he led the league in touchdown passes and quarterback rating. Jackson inserted Tennessee defeated Baltimore despite the team's poor season finale. He put the team on his back by throwing for 365 yards and rushing for 143 more, becoming the first player to throw for 300 yards or more and carry for 100 yards or more in a playoff game. After such a memorable season, Lamar became the second youngest player to win MVP and the second player to win it unanimously. For once, everyone thought 2022 would be the same or better. Lamar's numbers decreased somewhat as he finished with 2,757 passing yards and 1,005 rushing yards with 33 combined touchdowns, which was less than the previous season. Nevertheless, Jackson helped the Ravens to an 11-5 record and playoff berth, and he became the first quarterback to have multiple seasons surpassing 1,000 rushing yards. For Jackson, however, that may have been a bit of an unrealistic ask, as opposing teams were now making an effort to game plan around him in efforts to lessen his impact. In just 2 complete postseason seasons as a starter, Lamar and the Ravens exacted revenge on the Titans in the wildcard round after Jackson recorded his first playoff victory. However, in the divisional round against the Bills, Jackson was knocked out in the 3rd quarter due to a concussion, and Baltimore lost 17-3. While 2021 was supposed to be Lamar's revenge season, fate had other ideas. After 11 games, Jackson had the Ravens sitting 8-4 atop the AFC and discussed MVP. He is on his way to surpassing the 1,000-yard rushing mark for the third consecutive time, having already passed for more yards than he did in 2020, but it was in the first quarter of a Week 14 loss to the Browns. The Ravens were aware that their season would depend on the diagnosis when Lamar was tackled after tossing the ball and remained seated on the ground following the play. Unfortunately, the injury was so serious that he was forced to miss the remainder of the game and the season. The Ravens lost their last 5 games and missed the playoffs without Lamar. It was not the season Lamar had hoped for, but he was so influential and well-liked that he made the Pro Bowl despite missing a significant portion of the season after starting just 49 games in his career. Lamar's 36.73 QB rushing yards already rank him 8th all-time, demonstrating his ridiculously high level of skill when playing elite and creating defenders. There's one thing, miss, that Lamar has consistently avoided. His lack of postseason success has been used by his detractors throughout his career. But if Lamar's narrative is any indication, he has a talent for disproving them, which is concerning for the rest of the NFL.